kind of explode up and then really, really slow down. And that's gonna dramatically increase the time under tension. Hey guys, Mark McKillier here with Live Anabolic, and today I want to talk to you about how to build a really good chest without any really special equipment, i.e. no bench required. So today I got 4 exercises. It's going to be a really great all-around chest workout. And we're only going to use dumbbells and bands, but no bench. All right, so I know during the pandemic, those benches pretty much sold out. You couldn't find them on Amazon or any place, even in your local Craigslist, okay? Some of you guys just don't want to spend the money on the benches. That's fine. I actually am a big proponent of that equipment if you can get it, you know, and bring it into the house. It's really cool, and it gives you more range of motion. But today I'm going to give you a couple of tricks on how to build a really impressive chest without a bench press. All right, so obviously you guys found me here on YouTube, all right? So I work for Live Anabolic. We got a fantastic YouTube channel. I don't know, what do we have, 600 plus videos on here that Gary and I have made over the years on just about every topic, not just working out, lots of nutrition, a lot of lifestyle stuff, a lot of injury prevention, injury healing, rehab, just about everything, okay, on this channel. But we also have a really interactive resource for you guys. It's totally free, just like YouTube is, and it's on Facebook, okay? So don't roll your eyes at me because you don't like Mark Zuckerberg and you don't like Facebook. I don't either. I don't care. Take advantage of free stuff when we give it to you, okay? So anyway, click the link below. You do have to get permission to join the group. It is a membership, all right? Because we used to have a lot of people just joining and posting a bunch of crap in there, and I was constantly deleting and banning people. So we've really got rid of the riffraff, okay? It's over 15,000 members now, guys. A bunch of fantastic guys in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, 40s, and 80s also. I'm on there every day answering questions, and of course everybody in the group is. So tons of questions on there, tons of other people around the world answering these guys' questions, lots of different viewpoints, not just from me, and that's what makes it really so fun. Great group of guys, by far and away the best fitness group on all of Facebook. Don't throw away your money. It's free. All right, try it out. If you don't like it, you can always delete your account. I'm going to start off with the exercise that I would do as my primary chest exercise if I'm at the gym and I have a bench. All right, and that is a dumbbell chest press. I like dumbbells way more than barbells, which is a good thing because very, very few of you guys have barbells at home, but a lot of you guys do have dumbbells. So the very first thing I'm going to do here is a dumbbell chest press, all right? So I like to stand them up on their end here as the starting point. And then, of course, my feet are just kind of flat on the ground. And then all I have to do now is just curl them up. Now, all the weight is resting on my elbows. So I'm just balancing. And you can balance a pretty heavy weight like this and keep it there for a long time, okay? All right, now I'm just going to go through the basic movement, all right, of a chest press. There's nothing fancy about it, but then I'm going to show you a really clever trick that everybody can do to make it even better. All right, so it's basically straight up and straight down until you can feel your triceps just barely touch the carpet. So I'm not supporting, the weight isn't being supported by my bones, all right? I can feel my tricep, and that gives you the most range of motion. And that's what we're looking for, guys, because you don't have a bench, you can't get your elbows very deep. You can't get them behind your back, all right? So go as deep as you can without your elbow touching the ground. I can just barely feel my tricep touch. And at the top, stop about here, all right? Because now my pecs are still engaged. My chest muscles are still engaged somewhat. If you come all the way up and lock your elbows and bring the weights together and let them rest on your shoulder joint, basically I'm not using any chest muscles right now. My joints are just holding the weights. All right, so stop about here with a slight bend in your elbows, and that will keep the tension on your chest. All right, you can get some pretty good results doing it that way. But I want to show you the simple trick, basically. I'm going to create my own bench without a bench. Everybody's got a cushion. The thicker, the better, okay? So, put it right here under my back, under your shoulder blades, okay, is the main thing. Because now, I've brought my back up off the ground several inches, basically the thickness of the cushion. And that means when I come down, I can let my elbows go down behind my back, more range of motion before they actually touch the ground. All right, so that's the trick here, guys, and it's so easy. So straight up, stop here, but I can come down deeper and I can just barely feel my triceps out near my elbows. But see how much deeper the dumbbells are relative to no cushion? And then the last trick I want to discuss with you guys is how to make this exercise hard enough for you if you don't have real heavy dumbbells at home. Because a lot of you guys are going to get pretty big and strong, and you may only have 30-pound dumbbells. And, you know, in reality, you probably need to be doing 50-pound dumbbells, but you don't want to, write the check. All right, you don't want to spend the money. So this is all you do. Use those same 30-pound dumbbells that, you know, are getting pretty light for you because you're getting stronger and stronger. Be sure and use a cushion because that'll make it harder, okay, because it's more range of motion. And just try to really slow down the tempo. Because when you're going slow, what you're doing is you're putting the muscle under tension for a much longer time period than if you were going exploding up and then letting it drop, okay? So just slow things down, especially on the downward movement. Go slow, and then if you need to, you can kind of explode up and then really, really slow down. And that's gonna dramatically increase the time under tension for the muscles. And that will really get that burn. That's going to get that lactic acid going, the burn that you feel in your muscles. And of course, that lactic acid helps trigger signals in your brain to ramp up production of testosterone. All right, so the second exercise, we're going to be in the same position, but we're just going to be doing the exercise slightly different. Instead of a pressing movement, we're going to be doing a fly movement. And guys, one of the things that I see some people do wrong when they do flies is they try to lock their elbows out, okay? And they do flies like this. And you're gonna put a lot of extra stress on your bicep tendon and your elbow, and you're putting it on that joint at its weakest position when it's fully extended. So don't do that. Keep a nice little bend in your elbows and don't change it. Keep that angle, that bent angle throughout the full range of motion. And you can kind of pretend like you're hugging a big giant drum or big barrel. You know, you're gonna hug it and squeeze it and then let it go and then hug it and squeeze it. So that's all we're gonna do. And guys, make sure you use a cushion on this too, because you really not want that big range of motion, all right? And you won't get that nearly as well if your back is on the ground, okay? So here we go. The other thing I want you to remember is you're not going to be able to do nearly as much weight when you're doing flies versus chest press. And that's just due to simple physics, guys. You know, when you're doing a chest press, the weight is going through your forearm, and this is the lever over your chest muscle. So it's only this length. But when you extend your arm, look how much longer the lever is over your chest, all right? So your chest can only contract with a certain amount of force, and when you have the weight in close, this is a short lever acting on this joint, okay? Out here, it's a much longer lever, so the weight, in effect, has way more leverage over the muscle that we're working, all right? So not nearly as much weight, all right? And there's a couple of ways to do this, and the only difference is the position of your hands, all right? So I like doing them like this, And see how my elbows are bent and they're not touching at the ground. I want to keep them just a half an inch off, and then come up, but don't touch. Because remember, if you bring them together, I've taken all the stress off of my chest right now, and just my shoulder joint is holding this weight. So stop about here, and then really slow and controlled, and then up. And then, guys, you can slightly turn the dumbbells out here and then rotate your hands like this. And this is a great exercise to just experiment on. You can bring it over, rotate. So it doesn't really matter where you have your hands positioned. Experiment, see where you can feel it hit the best, okay, where you feel the most impact on your chest. And you're still working your chest muscles, but you're just working the fibers from slightly different angles. And I really do like switching it up. So you might do one set with a neutral grip like this, and another set where you're bringing your pinkies closer together, and another set where you're bringing your index finger closer together. You can really mix it up, guys. No chest workout would be complete without the push-up. So guys, instead of just showing you how to do just a basic run-of-the-mill traditional push-up on the ground, I'm gonna give you a couple of different variations for you to experiment with. And these two variations will just hit your chest muscles from slightly different angles, and that's why I like to throw them in. I like to do lots of different exercises because there's just so many muscle fibers. It's a pretty big muscle group, and you really need to hit your chest with lots of different types of exercises to get the full growth potential. So the first one is the easiest. So I'm gonna do a head elevated push-up. So the more elevated my head is when I'm doing the push-up, the easier it is. So a lot of guys who are really overweight and just starting off would actually lean against the wall and do it. So their head would be way up here and they would be doing push-ups, because when your head's real high, you transfer a lot of the load to your feet as opposed to your chest, your arms, all right? So I'm gonna do them on the couch here, which is not real high, but it still will hit my chest from a slightly different angle. And if these are too easy for you guys, just do this. All I did was slow things down, which means I got a lot more time under tension, okay? All right, so remember, head elevated is easier than just a flat horizontal push-up. Now, the opposite is true. If your head is lower than your feet, then you're transferring some of the weight from your legs towards the top of your body, hence your chest and your arms, and it makes it harder. So a foot elevated or feet elevated push-up is gonna hit our chest from a slightly different angle, and it's gonna be a little bit harder. So when my feet are elevated, the angle of my arms is slightly different, which means I'm going to be targeting the lower part of my chest a little bit more. Now, you're still getting your upper chest, you're still getting your entire chest, but you're going to put more emphasis on the lower part. Opposite is true. When I raise my head, we change the angle of our arms, and we put a little bit more emphasis on the upper chest versus the lower chest. All right, so the fourth and final exercise in today's chest workout is flies. Again, I've already done flies once. Remember, I was doing them with dumbbells on the floor. Well, if you can do flies with bands, I think you're gonna feel it completely differently, all right? So flies are great to do at the gym on cable exercises, those big cable machines, but there's several $1,000s, and they're huge. Nobody has those at home. So the next best thing to a cable machine are a $25 set of bands, all right? So let me show you a couple of ways. I got a real cool little caveat to doing these. So I'm gonna show you the traditional way first. So most of you guys are just gonna have a single set of bands, all right? So here my single set is, I got the anchor in the door here. You can have the anchor, this is considered kind of a mid-height You could put the anchor up high or down low, and depending on where you put the anchor will affect slightly the different angles on your chest, which of course affects different muscle fibers, all right? So I'm gonna do some flies with just the traditional one band set, and then I'm gonna show you the trick that I really, really like, and I know you guys will too. All right, so here we go. I gotta step away from the anchor. If you're too close to the anchor, the very first, 6-8 inches, there's gonna be almost no resistance. So kind of preload the band. You're gonna have to find the spot. All right, and I can feel it right here. There's a lot of tension, all right? So here we go. I'm not locking my arms or my elbows. My elbows have a bend, just like I did on the ground with the dumbbells. And I'm just gonna squeeze my arms together like I'm hugging a big giant drum or a big barrel. All right, and see, I can go way, way back. If your shoulders are flexible, you can get that full range of motion, all right? And this is much more range of motion than I was doing on the ground, even with my back on the cushion, all right? So great range of motion here. And at the top, you can bring your hands all the way together here, okay? Unlike on the ground, you have to keep those dumbbells apart, okay? So the one drawback to a single set of bands is see how the force is pulling straight back behind me here? It's not pulling my hands out, it's pulling my hands directly back, okay? So yes, I'm still engaging my chest when I'm in full contraction here, but not as much as if the band was pulling outward slightly, because the band is pulling straight behind me. I only got one set of bands. Well, this is what I want you guys to do. Just buy a second set. They're $25, guys. Make sure you get the same brand, okay? That way the colors and the resistance will be the same from set to set. And that's what I've done here. So I've got an extra set, and I got an anchor here and an anchor here, okay? And I got the same color, all right? And I've got the band looped back on itself here. You don't have to do that, but it's a real kind of clever way to do it to keep things shorter. Now look, guys, we're just going back to our geometry class in high school. See the angle the resistance is putting on my hands? It's pulling my hands out. Okay, so let me do this one-handed just real quick. So if I try to bring my hand forward, the resistance is out this way. If I'm only using one set of bands, it's directly behind me, and the resistance is straight down my arm. So it's trying to pull my hand out. It's resisting the fly much more effectively, basically just like it would be if you were at the gym using a $3,000 cable crossover machine. All right, so here we go. We're just, a lot more tension here than with just a single set and a single anchor. So if you guys will just spend an extra $25, you'll be able to do this simple little trick. And this is the main exercise that it's gonna pay off with, okay, doing flies. You can also do rear delt flies, completely different muscle group, and it works better if you have two sets of bands. There's several kind of benefits to buying a second set of bands. So I urge you guys, just because it's so cheap, everybody ought to do it. And then finally, guys, this workout today, it's 4 exercises. Now, if you're beginning, okay, I recommend you just do 2 sets of 10 to 12 reps on each exercise, all right? And don't do them one after another. Stick with one exercise and do the dumbbell presses, 2 sets, then move on to the dumbbell flies for 2 sets, okay, and then the push-ups, all right, because it keeps it simpler. Now, for guys that are more intermediate, I would want you guys to do 3 sets of every exercise, all right? And the guys that are in even better shape, go on and do 4 sets. So 4 sets of 4 exercises, that's 16 sets total. You know, you're working out from home, all right, and I guarantee you will get a serious pump if you do the workout the way I showed you. And then finally, guys, you're not gonna build a big chest overnight, but if you stick with it and never give up on yourself, I promise you're gonna get a big, old, impressive set of pecs.